Today I want to answer the question of, do you have to be unethical or stab people in the back or do shady things in order to succeed in your career, at your life, at making money, or in a business? And the answer is no. Some people have this false assumption or belief, and others, they have this saying that's completely untrue. And it goes, the more bad things you do, the more money you make. There's another one that goes, tell me how much money you want me to make, and I'll tell you how much bad stuff or sin I have to do. That's completely untrue, and I think I want to first point to the billionaire Richard Branson on his point on this, and now I'm going to illustrate a very simple example to pretty much blow it out of the water, foolproof. So start with billionaire Richard Branson's quote. He basically said in a TED talk that this whole false assumption that you have to stab people in the back and that's how businessmen succeed and that's the only way of getting there is very untrue. And he points to the fact that it's a very small world, your reputation matters, and most importantly that if you do good to others, they will come back for more. And that's the principle of how he did well in business. And he says that you really can't do well in business the other way if you do bad to other people, because your reputation will be ruined and people won't come back. And it's the same thing that a lot of billionaires have talked about, at least the really good ones that do well for like decades on end, like Sam Walton. He learned this deep into his business, and he realized that, and this is directly quoted from his book, Made in America. He says that the big money is not to be made in tricking strangers into your store with flashy sales and one-time sales or discounts. It's to be made in developing long-term relationships with customers that come back again and again. So here's my, small mom and pop business example of how this works and how you can be very ethical and honest and really provide great value, and that's how you make money and help others. Quite frankly, if you look around, that's kind of how a lot of the world works. So let's just look at it specifically. Look at a mom and pop store. You sell cupcakes. Let's say you try and scam people, or you try and take advantage of people who have never been to your cupcake store before. You scam them, you have a flashy sale, a discount, and the cupcake is crap quality, it's disgusting tasting, and the ingredients were very cheap, and you scam them. So you got them one time, and maybe you made some money off of it, but they will never return to your store. They'll leave bad reviews on Yelp, on the internet. They will tell their friends, word of mouth, and people you didn't even have a chance to talk to, who you have never met yet, already have a negative impression of you and will not eat your cupcakes. And the more times you scam people, the worse it gets, until eventually your whole town hates you and no one wants cupcakes. Now, if you take it up a notch to the big scammers, this really won't play out over time. So you can kind of understand how, if you do good, which is actually provide awesome cupcakes, great customer service, form friendships with those customers. They love you. They want you to come back. They'll tell your friends about you, even if you don't ask, because you did such a great job. You gain a reputation. More people start lining up at the door. People start hearing about you. You get that buzz, that reputation. Then people who don't even know about you or have heard the buzz see this line out the door. It just keeps building on itself, and then others tell other people. They leave good reviews. They take pictures, post it on social media, and that virality goes crazy. So that's the ideal situation. But the point is, you can definitely get a lot of good from helping other people. So the point is, you can be ethical. That doesn't mean that everyone is ethical, and I think, especially in certain economies, I definitely think ethical is the way to go, because it's just a much better way. There's no risk of complete catastrophe. And that's what some companies do. Like Enron, for instance, they got away and they got to a very big uh, size by tricking people with lawyers and complicated words. And they were able to do it for a few years, but eventually, at some point, it all falls down the drain. And then there's Bernie Madoff. He had a multi-billion-dollar pyramid scheme where it was basically you send in your money and then I'll mail you more money back. And the whole point of it was to get more and more people to join the scam. And he built this pyramid scheme until like billions of dollars, and he was able to do it for many years. But eventually you can't do this anymore because you run out of people in the world to scam, and eventually someone's going to catch on to this thing. It may take years. So you don't want to build a business on constantly looking over your shoulder and knowing that one day the whole thing's going to burst apart and you're going to live life in jail or anything like that. So the point is, you can do things ethically, and you can just look at the most smallest of levels or the biggest of levels of doing that. You have Starbucks or Amazon, both providing quality, fast service as best as they can, to a point where people are willing to pay for that quality. And Amazon nowadays, you can, with a click of a button, have almost anything you want purchased, whether it's a TV or a toilet paper, mailed to you instantly without you having to leave your home. And that's an incredible service that requires so much manufacturing and shipping and all this stuff. And it's rather a shame that every year young people get born into this new world and they kind of just take these things for granted. But the point is, though, that they do a great service. And then on the smallest of levels, you have people like, let's just say, someone who is a fitness trainer. He really wants to help you, and he doesn't have to scam or trick people to get up the ladder. And I do think that throughout history it hasn't been that clean. There's been lying and cheating, and people who have gone up the ladder, men and women alike, through nefarious, unethical tactics. But I think nowadays you don't have to do that, and I think you can definitely succeed by deserving to succeed. I mean, that's what I think is better on multiple accounts. Do you want to be the guy who tricked his way this way and that into the top position, or do you want to be the person who has the skills and actually deserves that because you did good work and you helped other people? So you can do it either way, but the latter way is much safer. There's no risk, and you actually feel more accomplished doing it. And I think more and more as the years progress, we're moving more towards this meritocracy. I mean, let's look at basketball players. It's gotten to a point where you cannot scam or trick people or lie or cheat to be the top basketball player. You can't do that with soccer anymore or med school. And it's simply because at that level, skills, you have to be that skilled, because everything is examined so rigidly and it is so difficult to be there that you have to deserve it. I mean, med school exams and med school tests are just so ridiculously hard that in order to cheat, you would need access to like 50 gigabytes of information, and it's just better to just have that, having actually studied and memorized that. So that sort of stuff, it's long story short, it's better to be ethical. So keep that in mind. And of course, if you want more readings and advice on this sort of stuff, I highly recommend you check out Warren Buffett, because that's pretty much his whole ethos, ethics and business on the simplest and most easy to understand terms. And I got a lot of that from Buffett, as well as other people, as I mentioned, like Richard Branson. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description to a video, a book by Warren Buffett called The Essays of Warren Buffett. And it goes into detail about like, how he approaches business and life. So check that out, and I will see you in the next video.